What's up, guys? This is Dylan.
And I'm Quinn.
And we are back to talk about WandaVision again. So please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop new videos. Because there's another video, there's another episode out there. So get ready, and there's more coming. We will be covering the last episode. And don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com.
So that brings it over to me. So, for everybody that's still here, this is your spoiler alert. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what is Agatha's overall master plan. So if you haven't watched episode 8 of WandaVision, then you need to pause this, go watch those, unless you enjoy being spoiled. You have all been warned.
I have a theory, but I need more.
You have. So, also just throw this out there real quick. You have been warned, your spoiler alert. But if you are interested in sponsoring a video or sponsoring just us in general, you can check out the Patreon and you can go throw a couple bucks at us, or you can have us sponsor your business or your product or whatever. Just let us know, and we'll get that worked out for you. We can do that. Anyways, all right, let's move on. So what is Agatha's master plan? All right, so lot of big reveals. We got a backstory for Agatha. She is from 1693 is what 1693. Yeah. She was very young and apparently was dabbling in something she shouldn't have been in, and her mom caught her, and she got scolded pretty hard.
I can be good. No, you cannot.
They said, magic her at the stake. And everyone looked around like, what does that mean? I don't shoot energy blasts at her? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and, the way they set it up has almost looked like she was being burned at the stake, just like a normal Salem witch trial thing. But in the comics, she does get burned at the stake, but it's later on because she goes and founds New Salem, and then her son, I think, has the town turn on her and burned her at the stake or something like that. But yeah, anyway, so it's elements are there. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna kind of pitch my theory. Okay, my theory is okay. So we find out that the Scarlet Witch, just like in the comics, is a mantle. And it's not necessarily a name that Wanda has given herself, even though in the comics it kind of like they've kind of retconned her backstory many times, and even in the MCU here, they're not using the same parents as the foster parents or any set of parents that she's had throughout. Because at one point when they were mutants, Magneto was their father, and Magna his wife. And then the foster parents, and then there was another set of parents where her mom had the Scarlet Witch mantle,
and her dad was Scarlet Warlock.
Yeah, so I mean, there's all this thing, and it seems like they're kind of like nodding their head to the whole Mount Wundagore thing, which is where Wanda and Pietro were kind of like raised. They were like they were born there, right? Which is a mountain that's kind of like full of these creatures that are like half man, half other animal. So they're like, there's the Easter egg with bova milk, and that was kind of like the the handmaiden that took care of them. It was like this cow lady, Bova, and bovine. Anyways, yeah. So that's a thing. And they're kind of, and even like throughout a lot of the episodes, they had different animals sprinkled in all throughout it and all kinds of stuff. So they're dropping these little Easter eggs, but in this version, these parents may or may not be her actual parents. As far as we know right now, they are, but we don't know because it doesn't seem that her mom knew anything about powers or anything like that. But Wanda did have powers from the beginning. So she was either a mutant already or just had been marked by, okay. So there's a lot to unpack here, okay? Mount Wundagore in the comics, she was marked by Chthon, who is the elder god of chaos magic,
Yes. Yeah.
who is basically bound by the Darkhold and needs to resurrect into a body. And so he marks someone to be the Scarlet Witch or something to that effect. He marked Wanda
to become his vessel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why she has access to chaos magic to kind of prepare her or whatever. So they could be leaning into that or not. We don't know yet, but there is that book. And there's a couple things I noticed. So the book's magic is like kind of orangey red. It's not really like pure red like Wanda's, like Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get Agatha at being burnt, or not being burnt, but being magicked at the stake, as Quinn so eloquently put it. So she told her that Agatha had been dealing with magic that was above her rank and above her age, kind of the same, almost in the same way that that Doctor Strange was dealing with things he shouldn't have been messing with, except he had enough oversight to kind of be brought back in, and some crazy things happened at that moment where he didn't really have to deal with the punishment of that, and he ended up having to use that. So things happened differently for him. But also Caecilius, who was the bad guy in Doctor Strange, was also dealing with that book of forbidden magic and messing with it. So potentially, my theory is that she was messing with the Darkhold, and she was seduced by it, by Chthon or Mephisto or whoever is they're going to say is bound by this book or uses this book. And okay, I'm trying to put my thoughts together in a coherent way. So my theory is that she was being seduced by it, but not really aware of what was happening, but being seduced by the power of it, right? And then her mom caught her, but rather than give her the leadership and the oversight to deal with it, she totally Luke Skywalkered her and decided to kill her rather than help her deal with this and help her realize that this was something she should not be messing with. Because at some point, the way she plays the character is almost confusing, where at some point seems genuine and crying for help, but then also seems to be manipulating, but also like when she tells her, okay, no more deception, she's like, okay, yeah, I didn't mean to. It just bowed to my will, my power, or something like that. So she did let on that she was seduced by it, that she was enjoying this powerfulness. But even after that point, she was still crying out, "Why won't you just help me?" And then when they started shooting her with the magic, she was like begging them, "Stop! No, I can't control it." Instead of just like, whoa, ha, 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 like full bad guy. Okay, so their magic was blue and they're shooting her. But if you look, she starts glowing almost reddish. And in between the blue beams, from the fire almost, we start seeing that yellow, orangish, reddish orange magic coming in between those beams, almost like feeding off of the fire and going into her as well. So that could also be an allusion to Hell and Mephisto. And then the blue seems to mix with the red or orange and becomes purple. And that's why it's purple. And then it expounds from there and starts siphoning off their energy. And I think there's a twofold thing happening there. I think they're binding her, but they're
Mhm.
also having their powers drained at the same time, because we've had the snacking on your magic reference, and that's a thing.
Yeah.
So whatever power is from that yellow, orange, or red or whatever is siphoning off and feeding off of their magic, obviously, because we see their shells left over. And that's why her magic's purple. But I think that she was originally meant to be a Scarlet Witch herself. And that's why that red magic is kind of starting to emanate from her. But I think in binding her, she was inextricably bound to their magic as well, and so so tainted, and so Mephisto or Chthon or whoever couldn't use her any longer. And so at that point, I think she was kind of tossed aside and was like, well, you're of no use to me. And she realized that she was being manipulated, and that her mom and her coven was correct, and that it wasn't just, it wasn't about her or whatever. It was about her being used, or that demon god or whatever, using her. And so she took the place of her mom and is now the guardian of the book and that power. And now she did say during the episode that she was drawn there by Wanda's magic and all these spells happening, and she didn't know what to make of it, heads or tails. And she came, and I think there is some level, and also the way she plays with Wanda through the memory series there is somewhat resentful, yet somewhat sympathetic at the same time. So I think that she is resentful. She realizes that Chthon or Mephisto is trying to stage another Scarlet Witch, so that he can manifest and come back through this body. And so she's found this person, and so she's resentful, and she realizes, because she even tells Wanda at the end, you don't know how dangerous you are. So I think that she's resentful that Wanda doesn't even, she's feeding Mephisto or Chthon. She's feeding the dark hole. She's feeding this dark magic without even knowing it. And it's like a child with a gun, with a dangerous weapon. And so she's resentful in that. Yet she's sympathetic because she sees herself being manipulated in Wanda, and wants to offer her the guidance that she never got. And so that's my theory, is that she's going to, even though she's this whole tough love thing, like mocking her and stuff like that. I think that there is some element of wanting to help her and gonna step in and try to help, because even in the comics, there's part of the storyline where she does all these horrible things to Wanda to make her more powerful, so that she can end up defeating Kang the Conqueror, who is confirmed to be coming later in the MCU in Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. So there is that potential setup. And I think personally, that's my theory. That's where it's leading.
That's a good theory, Dylan. But no, okay.
Lay it on me, man.
I think going along with that, Agatha is resentful and she's sympathetic, but I also think that she is a tad jealous. More than anything else.
Yeah.
And she probably is going in here with this mentality of, if I can't do that, you can't do that, so die.
Yeah, because she was like, how do you even not know the fundamentals,
Yeah. And like Wanda being as powerful as she is, and now confirming that what she has been doing this whole time has just straight been magic, untamed, uncontrollable magic. I think, and also if she is the guardian of the book and not just someone using it, she is definitely gonna take out this thing that is, instead of trying to make her stronger, she's just gonna take her out. Because
potentially, I mean,
this is the MCU.
Maybe that's why Doctor Strange shows it. Because I mean, surely this has got to be on his radar. If Agatha found it, then surely Doctor Strange has found it too, and he's on his way. If not, already has an agent there, and we can talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. In all honesty, I don't really, besides Agatha wanting to take out Scarlet Witch, I don't really think that she had a master plan. If she did, it was revealed in this episode of trying to figure out why this hex is here, who made it, and how they made it. The book could also
Pietro.
She could also be just collecting magic and trying to figure out how she can have it for herself, or if it's something she can have for herself.
Yeah, and that makes me think that Baron Mordo is around the corner too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That also might be why Doctor Strange isn't here like right now, because he said, "Oh, Baron's going for it. Baron, you can't do this. Stop. You're not stopping me."
Yeah.
And they're just, yeah.
It's about to get crazy.
It's about to get real. I pulled a rabbit out of a hat. Magic-y.
Speaking of rabbits, who the heck is that rabbit? Who is the rabbit Ralph? Because that rabbit is not a rabbit. It's maybe just her weird familiar that eats bugs, because rabbits don't eat bugs.
Oh.
and she talks to it. So I mean, in the comics, she's got a familiar named Ebony that's a black cat. Maybe this is just her version of that. But
that's a rabbit.
Yeah.
His name is Mr. Scratchy.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Is it? Go ahead.
It could be. It could just straight be Nicholas Scratch, only because what if she got pissed off at him and was like, "No, you've been a bad child. This is your punishment." Where some kids get time out, he gets
gonna be a rabbit
into
for 100 years. Literally grounded. But at the same time, maybe Pietro is also just like in Maleficent, where was it the transformation of animal back to human form? But I mean, in Maleficent, I don't know, they could do it differently. In Maleficent, the human also obviously has bird features. But
yeah,
I mean, Pietro is fast, but I mean, that's pretty much the only rabbit reference.
That's the only one you need, I think.
Yeah. And how does the timeline work there? Because Monica being outside and caught by Pietro during the time between she sets the rabbit down and goes on the series of memories with Wanda, and then meets Wanda outside. So in that little window of time, did he transform back to Pietro and go get Wanda, Monica?
Yes. Because I mean, time could have worked differently while they were going through her memories, but if it was going at the same pace as we were watching it, then it took like 30 minutes.
I don't know.
It just depends.
That's true. I guess, yeah.
But it just depends how the amount, how much time was actually passing when they were going through the memories. That's what it really depends on. Because yeah, he could definitely. The second they left, he's like, "Oh, there's another person. Boop. Let me go grab her, or get beat up, or whatever."
Yeah, because I mean, he could be just like for lack of a better word, the minion who is guarding the house while she's in her dungeon type thing. Because you even mentioned, because another question that I was seeing online is that people were like, okay, well, is the whole deed that Vision gave Wanda, is that whole thing a setup and fake? Because 2 houses down, she's already got a dungeon set up. But the very good point you made is that just like in Doctor Strange at the Sanctorums, when you pass through a doorway, you could be in a completely different place. So when she went into the basement, she could have very well passed into New Salem and Agatha's actual location or actual house or dungeon.
Yeah. Is it a dungeon? I feel like it's just real witchy aesthetic workshop.
I don't know. There was some stonework in there.
Yeah.
And those runes were not just drawn, like they were like
oh,
gold.
That's what the blood was for.
Oh, for the runes. But they were gold. They were like crusted in gold and gold flake and everything.
Once you put that blood up there and you say them words, I ain't gonna say them because I'm not finna summon a demon in my house. But they'll turn cold flaky, and now you can't use magic.
Yeah.
So
speaking of other magic, okay, hold on. The Pietro thing, I think we covered all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I guess who else could it be? I mean, is it Ralph? Because we haven't seen her husband Ralph yet.
No.
Do you think
if it's Ralph, it's the same thing if it's Nicholas Scratch. He made her mad, so now he's a rabbit.
Or, I mean, like in the comics, I think Ralph and Mr. Scratch is a name that Mephisto has gone by in the comics. So
it could just be.
Yeah, maybe during that time before, because she even told her mom, I can be good. Her mom said, no, you can't. Like it was too late. Maybe she had already been married to the devil at that point, and that's why she was like, it's too late for you.
Yeah.
And that's why she's like, keeps like, my husband Ralph, just kind of like mockingly. And she even jokes about how Ralph doesn't pay attention to her and looks better in the dark and all these different things.
Okay. Rabbit's Mephisto. The Rabbit's Mephisto, or the Rabbit is Nightmare. Because I'm going to keep saying Nightmare until they tell me it's not Nightmare. So
at this point, I think with all the demon and devil references, it's got to be Mephisto because he's the devil of the Marvel realm. But yeah, I hear you. They could be mixing it up because I think so. Okay, in the comics, the kids are fragments of Mephisto's soul, and that's how he helps create them with Wanda. And she doesn't realize it, and it's part of like the trap that he's got set for her, so he can manipulate her and stuff. But then he like manifests himself into a character called like the Master Pandemonium or something like that, and he's got the kids as like these meat puppets on his hands in this. It's very unsettling, and they're like babies in his hands. But I think that the MCU equivalent of that is Agatha having the kids on strings like puppets. So I think that is what that's alluding to. So maybe they're mixing the Master of Pandemonium character with Agatha to a certain extent. given her that scene at least. But and that leads to another question: like, are the boys real? Are they for real? I don't think they're real. I think it's going to be just like in the comic that they are, because they mysteriously disappeared and mysteriously help, mama, help, whenever Agatha needed it, and Agatha even said, you created all this out of nothing. Vision, these kids, this world you created, like reference them all in one chunk. And I don't think any of those are real. And then we even saw that Vision, who was created the same way, could not exist outside the hex. No. So I don't think the kids are real. And I think that is also going to contribute to Wanda's big breakdown, which is going to lead to House of M, not Master, but what is the Doctor Strange title?
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness. And I think that's where it's going, because they even referenced when she was building the house, the puzzle piece connection, just like was it like the cover art or one of the frames in the comic of House of M. I think it's too obvious, but they are going to throw a curve somewhere, obviously. But I like how it's going. So what do you think, Glenn?
My thoughts on it are fairly simplistic. I think that everything we're saying, although it may sound really, really great and good and could be right in another universe, we are still watching a product of the MCU, and they like their nice little intricate storylines and everything, but at the end of the day, they're going to kill the villain. So Agatha's dead.
I don't know.
I feel like Agatha's about to die, unless she's about to just start being the new Loki, but Loki's still Loki because he gets a TV show where he time travels.
That's a whole nother thing, because in one of the scenes in the Loki trailer, there's a stained glass window that looks like Mephisto.
Oh, crap. All right, you know what?
And the time variance for was it the TVA? The time variance authority is in the comics is also watching Wanda because of her multiverse shenanigans and messing up the timelines. And so that ties into Loki as well. It's like everything, like you said, they love their intricate storylines.
Okay. Well,
maybe Loki's the big reveal.
If Loki's the big reveal, I swear. So y'all made me wait 8 weeks just to see Loki again.
And this
I
is
just
Loki,
went and watched a Thor movie.
They would, they would.
I'll be furious. I'll be so upset. Oh, I don't know who the big. I don't know. I feel like there's one more big reveal, just like there was in the end credit scene. We'll get to that later, but I don't know. I do still feel like Agatha's gonna crap out, but there'll be a consequence, maybe a consequence because of her crapping out. I say crapping out because she's gonna she's gonna blow up like.
I don't know. I think Doctor Strange is very aware of who she is. She's been around for hundreds of years, at least. Yeah. And she's very powerful. But
if he hasn't gone after her, or if even the Sorcerer Supreme before, okay. What? Hold on. the Sorcerer Supreme before Doctor Strange, she got outed for using dark magic to increase her
extra long life.
Yeah, for her longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Who taught her that? I mean, she could have taught herself easily.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Strange taught himself. He read the book.
Yeah, he read the book.
taught himself.
Yeah, but what if she didn't teach herself? What if she found dark? Because they never said what kind of dark magic. They said dark magic. I don't know,
because she was a lot older than Agatha too. She was like Celtic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who knows?
But I think they run in the same circles. I think he knows who she is, because I think that she's obviously not part of the group that he's got going where they protect the universe and all that kind of stuff, or Earth or whatever. So I think she's just kind of like, she's out for herself. She's got her own thing going. She's not interested in what Doctor Strange is doing. I don't think that I think she's middle of the road. And I think because the way they're playing the characters, like they made her look like a bad guy, but then they made her look awful sympathetic as well, and very, very sympathetic to Wanda. Like,
so an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they very well could be setting her up as another Loki type character in the magic realm, even though Loki deals with mischief magic as well. Like his magic is different.
His magic is Asgardian.
Yeah.
Asgardian magic is, what's the best comparison?
Well, because I mean, all of them pulled their magic from other dimensions. Well, other dimensions, not other realms. I don't know.
They pulled their magic from Odin. I feel like, because he was the sort, like, once he died, Asgard kind of just went downhill. And Ragnarok, like it had, there, a lot of thought. I just had a lot of thoughts rushing in my head.
Different directions.
But what's the best comparison for it? If magic that we see that Doctor Strange and all of them do is like an oatmeal pie, the magic that they do on Asgard is a moon pie.
Okay, I'm trying to track with you. I'm sorry.
They're both. There's
an RC Cola in there somewhere too.
They're both cream-filled sandwiches that you put in between two cookies or whatever. Yeah, cookies, and they taste good, but one is a bit different than the other.
Okay, I'm tracking with you.
Okay.
It's the only way you can get me to understand if it's a food reference. Okay, so another person that we could see, and maybe these extra, because everybody keeps saying that all these extra people, like they've already introduced all this. How are they going to just keep introducing people and just make it more complicated? However, these, like the introduction of Mephisto or anyone else that Doctor Strange or whatever, could just be a mid-credit scene, because now that we're solidly outside of the sitcoms and in the MCU world, we've been getting mid-credit scenes. So we can assume that we're going to get another one next week. And the standby screen is gone. So outside, another person that we could see that we alluded to with, and like an agent of Doctor Strange, that could be the eyes and ears for Doctor Strange. So Agatha, at her house, we know her magic is purple, right? She's got purple flowers outside her house.
Yes.
Outside of Wanda's house, we know her magic is red. She's got red flowers. Yes. And then last episode, they made a very big point to show Dottie with yellow flowers. So there is something to who Dottie is, because for a couple of reasons. One, her name or her identity has not been revealed on the wall. She is not from Westview, as far as we know. Just like Agatha wasn't up on the wall. We don't know who she is or where she came from. Even though in one of the episodes she seemed to be married to the piano man, I can't think of his name, who we did see as a resident of Westview. Can you hear me?
His name Earl?
Oh, Earl? I don't know.
It's fine.
Maybe. I don't remember. He was like, that was my grandmother's piano. So it seemed like she was married to him, and the person that even the person that he ID'd as or was named as in the comics, one of these characters that she could be is married to that person. So that could be another clue. And we know that her casting had to be approved by Kevin Feige. So she's not just some townsperson. She's somebody significant. And she has been upping the teasing here more and more lately that her reveal or whatever it could be coming. So she could be either, some people think she's Enchantress. She could be Arcana, or she could be Klee. Your face. So I'll just go through these, and you can go into your apparently the Enchantress thing threw you off. But we're going to get into that in just a second. So Klee is basically like a romance on and off again with Doctor Strange. So there's that connection there. She I think well, all of the wizards and witches, they have extra dimensional power, so I don't know why that matters. So then there is Arcana, who is the one that is married to the guy with the same name, and she is somebody in that universe that's part of like Agatha's coven, or not necessarily her coven, but her basically the same witch circles,
Witch clique.
Yeah, the witch clique. So then go into your Enchantress. I want to one more thing. I think Enchantress has been confirmed for Loki. So that's one thing people keep saying, that she could be Enchantress. But I think they've revealed somebody else to be potentially playing her, but they haven't confirmed that that's who she is. So that could still be up in the air. Anyways, what was your face saying a minute ago when I mentioned Enchantress?
If it's Enchantress, then so the kicker about Enchantress, and any time that I have ever come across Enchantress, this woman is obsessed with Thor, just outright, and she usually ends up finding herself being put under somebody else's thumb. There was
like
one
manipulated
time,
or
like, oh, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You're my slave now. I won't say slave. You're my, what's another word?
minion?
Servant? Minion? You are my, what you call it? What is the name of herald? You are my herald now.
Or like Galactus.
Like Galactus, like that's happened with her with Mephisto. That happened with her with Helena. Who else that happened with? When she was working with Loki, Baron Zemo. Thumb. She's under someone's thumb, if that is Enchantress, which means big bad right behind. Especially
the Mephisto mention.
Yeah.
And Agatha saying that she was the key to it all. She could very well be the liaison for Mephisto. because the big theory is that all these people are like they're part of a coven. However, we've seen Herb, we've seen the piano guy, we've even seen the mailman in real Westview. So the chances of them being part of a coven are, and Agatha saying that she didn't know about Wanda until she sensed all the magic from the hex. The chances of them being part of a coven diminished greatly, I think, except for Dottie, who could have also showed up on the scene because for the same reason.
But she's nowhere near as strong as Agatha, and definitely not as strong as Wanda. And she was able to get in, but then not able to keep herself from not being snatched up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got put into the story.
Mm-hmm. I mean, unless she's like Cleve and somebody that is a powerful sorceress and is just like Agatha playing along and kind of watching and waiting. I mean,
seeing how everything plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that kind of makes sense that Doctor Strange would have somebody there, but or be, I don't know, watching from the outside, because he could probably just burst in and do whatever, because he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He is, I don't know that he's as powerful as Wanda, but he could probably give her a run for her money, if nothing else.
He could tie her up and throw her in a hole somewhere.
Mm-hmm. He would figure it out, because that's one of the reasons one of the things that makes him great is that he is creative with it. He figures it out, right?
Yeah. And we've seen that the best example of that is, I don't want to say Dormammu. I'll say this. I like the Doctor Strange movie, but I hated the way that the last fight went. It's not the fact that it wasn't a last fight. It's the fact that he just tricked him. It's fine. But yeah, we really I saw it for real when he was fighting Thanos, and he was just pulling spell after spell out of the wazoo. He just kept going until he couldn't go anymore. So he could definitely give Wanda a run for her money and probably figure out some way to stop her before she could just go.
Yeah, because she's a baby witch.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what she's doing yet. Which is probably the only reason Agatha's able to get anything over on her right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, she knew what she was doing. She would have been poof.
Yeah. Man, okay. So another thing is, just to hit on this briefly, the crown that appeared on Evanora. I don't know if I said this earlier, but Evanora was the good witch from Wizard of Oz. Or not the good witch, but the Wicked Witch of the West, or East rather, that had the house dropped on her. So there's a tie into the Wizard of Oz. And there's even a whole theory of how like these different characters are like Wanda is Dorothy and Agatha is the Wicked Witch of the West. And like people are like trying to make all that connection. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. But so Evanora had a blue crown on that it doesn't seem like Agatha inherited, even though she took her mom's brooch. I don't know if the brooch is just sentimental or if it's a powerful relic. I don't know. But it obviously didn't give her the crown and doesn't make her the queen of the coven or whatever that is. But there's one theory that she could potentially be a throwback character from Atlantis because her crown resembles the Queen of Atlantis, who, and this is the Marvel universe, so it's not Aquaman, it's not them. It's Namor, and they've been chomping at the bit to get Namor in the MCU for a long time. That's like one of Feige's favorite characters that he's been trying to push for a while. So that could be another reference. We did get a reference. I think it was in like an Iron Man 2 or 3, where there was like a little blip in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
That was like a point of interest on the map.
Yep.
So, and another tie-in that people have been expecting is with Black Panther 2 is potentially seeing a war with the Atlanteans, because that's a big deal in the comics. But now with Chadwick Boseman out of the picture, it could go a different direction. We have to see how that plays out.
They could still do a Tale of the Two Kings, but they just call it the Tale of the King and Queen.
Yeah. Surely they've got all that figured out by now. Because they're supposed to start filming. They're supposed to start filming in the next year. So surely they've got all that mapped out by now. But yeah, I mean, she could potentially be. So the sorceress that she could potentially be was, I can't remember. I don't remember if she was cast out or if she chose to leave, but she was a sorceress of good magic, and that could explain the blue with Atlantean sorcery and the crown, and why she was so put off by Agatha toying with dark magic.
Yes. Could be. It feels like it would be, because the crown, when I first when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's different. Why? All right. Okay.
There's got to be some significance to it.
Yeah. It wouldn't be in there if it didn't.
Right.
So definitely yes. But hopefully they'll explain that. Next week's supposed to be the last episode. So
yeah,
hopefully they explain that.
There was a rumor a while back that maybe there was going to be a secret 10th episode, and there's a week gap between the next episode and and when Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts. So yeah, I doubt it's going to happen, but nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset.
Neither would I.
So I think that's all I've got for Agatha's master plan and what's going on with her and all that kind of stuff. Anything else you have?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you sticking in. This was a longer one, but there's a lot to cover. There was a lot going on, and we're looking forward to next week. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop new videos. And this is Dylan.
I am Quinn.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.